Okay. All right. So let me ask you another question. Uh, so why do you think there is a universe in the first place?
Well, what would you call that?
Called what? Curtains, windows?
No, just like, everything that's a pretend I'm outside and if I point it up, what would you call that?
I would call it a very a beautiful world we live in. Is supporting life. We are having in social interactions. We are making love, children, food, taste buds. It's a well organized world.
Right. And that world is part of.
Part of the rest of this universe, which
Okay,
is
there we go.
okay. So why is so so why did the universe come into existence? What's your gut feeling?
No
I mean,
clue.
huh? What's that,
No
sir?
clue.
No clue.
No
Okay.
clue. And I actually don't really care.
Okay. All right. And what do you think happens after death?
To me,
Hmm.
the same thing that happened to me before I was born.
Okay. So so before you were born, let's say if you go all the way to the Big Bang, like 13.8 billion years back, so there was no chance for you to exist, right? Let's say if you were take a mental flight, and if you were that far back, you could not conceive that human life would exist. So, but it existed abundantly. So, if you die, all the physical elements, everything is still within the universe. So, if it can happen, if it happened before, why can't it happen again? That there be life after death?
There's absolutely nothing about the concept of a soul going on to exist in a realm that can't even be fathomed by mortal creatures in the physical universe, with whatever a concept of the afterlife is. So when you say, why can't it, what you're saying is, how come you can't take what we know and understand in the physical universe and use that to extrapolate about what happens in a dimension that we don't even know if it exists? And even if we did know that it exists, we wouldn't know anything
Right.
about it because it's outside of this universe. Like, what are you talking
No,
about?
no.
That
What
doesn't
I'm
make any sense.
going to make sense. What I'm saying is, in the past, let's go over 10 billion years ago, there was no chance, that there was no like what one couldn't conceive that human life will exist, because there was the universe, it was in a very cataclysmic state, right? But ultimately the earth came into existence, it cooled down, and the biological evolution took place. We emerged from the universe. And
Sure.
if it can happen through naturalistic forces before, why cannot it happen again? While all the laws, from consciousness to the quantum physics, all that stuff is still within the closed system of the universe. Why can't the consciousness contained in the universe uh, sort of like recreate life again through through natural processes? It happened before, right? So there's a model that there is
Okay.
something.
So you just, using different words, you said the exact same thing, right? Are you saying that, do you believe in heaven? Like, is heaven what you're talking about?
See, these are like metaphysical concepts,
Okay.
religious concepts. But I'm saying
No,
just the natural
well,
force.
this was a yes or no question. Are you talking about heaven?
Could be any existence within another universe.
You specifically are talk you specifically mentioned the afterlife. Are you talking about heaven?
After death. I mean after death.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said afterlife, which
Right.
occurs after death. So
Yes.
are you talking about heaven?
Yeah, if within the universe, if you want to call it space or other billions of planets, another life, why not?
Could you just like answer with a yes or a no? Because I don't know what other planets have to do with heaven. Are
If
you talking about heaven?
uh, heaven, you can use that as a metaphor for existence of life.
I'm asking
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
what you mean. Are you talking about heaven?
Not in particular, not heaven as
Okay.
a religious metaphysical concept, but in a naturalistic world, we came into existence through the cosmic forces. Why, and when we die, why is there a remote possibility that natural forces can give life to us again in some other shape or form? Since we, maybe our consciousness is still around, the atoms in our bodies are still around. They can come together and sort of reassemble and recreate, like they did in the first time, the
Okay.
big.
So what you're this question, you're just saying, isn't it possible that something could happen? And meanwhile, whatever this thing you're talking about, the afterlife or whatever, again, keep in mind, we know absolutely nothing about it. And you're not saying anything specific about it. You're just saying, couldn't consciousness continue to exist in some form? So that is so vague that you're not really saying anything. You're just kind of asking, couldn't something happen? And
Right,
I suppose almost anything could happen, but
right.
you can't then just take that and be like, oh, so therefore heaven is real or
No,
something like that. Like this is
no, no.
complete. You're not really saying
Right.
anything.
The religious part, I haven't brought that into the discussion yet. I'm just
Right?
like exploring the range of possibilities, because my idea is like, hey, here's the Big Bang, right? Now we wait 13.8 billion years, and then human beings emerge. Okay, if that can happen over that huge, these billions of years, why can't it happen again? Let's say there's a big crunch and there's a big bang again, and then life emerges after billions of years, and you're there in a maybe slightly different form or a slightly in different system, but there is life again. Well, I'm just saying, in a remote possibility, I'm trying to entertain. I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm just saying, can you entertain that thought?
Yeah, it could happen, or it might not happen. Neither one of those options
But
has any
oh,
credence to it
right,
whatsoever. So acknowledge, like I've heard this kind of trick before, and it's like acknowledging that something is possible, something that we can't know about is possible, somehow gives it legitimacy. It's like there's an infinite number of ridiculous things that we can imagine. Um, that doesn't mean that any of them are particularly good or profound ideas or can or have any explanatory value for what actually goes on here.
okay. Do you have any yearning as a human being for life to exist, or perhaps I'm talking about life after death? But do you have any inclination towards that, or do you want just, hey, I'm decomposed body and that's the end of that? I'm saying, as a human being, do you have any sort of like yearning for life after death?
Um,
As
I
a, as a
just I don't really think about it. I used to, like I used to be religious, but um, I guess I just don't really care too much.
Okay, all right, okay. Because life is, very dear to everybody. Nobody wants to give it up. They always want to survive at all costs. The survival instinct is always there to protect, to safeguard life. So I thought maybe, human beings are desirous that life should continue. I mean, maybe it's their wishful thinking. Nonetheless, is in their sort of like. In their sort of like heartfelt desires that it should, perhaps if they have their they want to meet their loved ones, etc. I mean, anyways, another question. So what is the problem with entertaining the idea of a creator of this universe, since we know that the universe cannot come out from a state of absolute nothingness, and we also know that this is a contingent and dependent universe. So ultimately, there must be a necessary being that brought this
No,
universe.
there must not necessarily be.
So, so can something come out from nothing?
Maybe, probably not. Well, I'm
Okay,
not even going to say probably. We just don't have any evidence for
okay.
it.
So is it scientifically or logically or rationally or even experientially, is it possible that something can emerge from an absolute state of nothingness?
I don't think so, but maybe.
Okay, no, no. I mean, we are rational creatures, right? From the palm of your hand, an elephant can't appear, or a spacecraft, right? But we know that these
Yep.
things do not happen. So if there's nothing, nothing comes.
Yep.
But the universe
Okay.
came into existence. The Big Bang posits
Yep.
a beginning of a universe. So what
Hmm.
caused the universe? Now we know
No
this is a
idea.
finite universe. It's not an
Yep.
eternal universe, right? So if it's a finite
Well,
universe,
we
so
don't know that.
you, don't you think this universe is finite and limited and interdependent and expanding and evolving? So therefore, it cannot be eternal, because if it has a definite past, it cannot be eternal, right?
Well,
Eternal.
it our universe began at a particular point, but I mean, there's different ways of explaining what you mean by infinity. Um, so
No beginning, no end. Okay, so
sure.
the
Well,
universe has
okay.
a beginning.
Okay, so if the universe does have a beginning, but it doesn't have an end, it still goes on for infinity. It doesn't have to be you don't have to have an infinite expanse of time going backwards and forward. It can just be forward. That's
Right,
still that's
but
still an infinite quantity.
right, but that is not the definition of infinity. Infinity cannot have a beginning or an end. So if the universe has a beginning, therefore it
I
cannot turn.
that's no,
You see, it
no.
cannot be eternal, and the infinity or eternality simply means that something that has no beginning, no end, and it doesn't fall into our sense perception. And in fact, there is nothing in the universe that is infinite that you can look at point two. We know that the agency or the agent that brought the universe into existence, that agent.
No,
uh,
we
uh,
don't know that. We don't know anything about what caused this universe to begin to exist. The fact that you're saying an agent is responsible for it is a claim that you don't have any authority or knowledge to make.
no, but once you look at the characteristics and properties of the universe, you know that the dependent things do not come into existence on their own. There has to be a maker,
What
a
made the maker? And if
huh?
the and if what made the maker? And if the maker doesn't have
the,
to be made,
the
then I
right,
say the universe doesn't have to
right.
be made.
The maker is self-existing, and
Okay,
is
the universe is self-existing. There we go.
no, it is not, because
Yes, it is.
how is it
It
self?
exists all on its own. Where's the
Give,
evidence of your maker? Where is it? Is it over there? Is it
give,
over there? Is it behind that book?
give
There's
me
no evidence of a maker. Then the
no, no,
universe is self existent. There
give
we
me
go.
right. Give me some component of the universe that is self-existing.
The fact that it exists.
Right, but this is like interrelationships. These are all dependent parts. These are all dependent
No, they're
ingredients.
not. The universe is dependent upon nothing other than itself. There we
Okay,
go.
okay. There isn't any particle or atom that is existing by its own nature. It's dependent in a relationship with something else. Yeah,
Is there anything that exists outside of this universe?
the necessary being that brought this universe into existence.
How do you know that?
Because we have a finite world, finite effect. We want to know what is the cause, and we see that the
Okay, so what I
first
meant
cause,
was what evidence of that creator do you have? Not
the
and don't give me a logical argument. When I say evidence, I mean like I want something physical
right.
that you can give me.
That necessary being, if it becomes physical, then it will be part of the causal chain, then it will be a finite object. So that necessary being is outside of space, time, matter,
Right.
energy.
So in other words, this necessary being can't be known about. We cannot have evidence of it, which makes you agnostic. But you're just asserting that it must exist because of like a logical necessity or
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not proof.
No, no, this is a logical proof, because you have a finite universe, and you say, where does it come from? You can't say, well, it comes from another finite thing, and that comes from another finite, and you go into infinite regress. That's an illogical thing. But
So
then,
what you've done is you've invented something that is not beholden to the laws of logic. So you've come up with an illogical thing which has no beginning or so.
no, no, because
Do you see? Oh,
infinite
so oh, so it's lot. So it's logical that everything that exists must have been created, except for the thing that created all the things that
Yeah.
exist.
Otherwise, if that's not the
So
case,
you believe in a contradiction. So I
no,
don't really
no,
understand how this is epistemologically
no,
valuable.
no, 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 because
Yes, yes,
because
yes, yes. Yes, yes,
because
yes, yes.
because we are looking at it rationally and logically, right? These are we are using from
Are you?
yes, because we see a finite
Oh.
and we ask, where does it come from? If you posit that, well,
Yes, it comes from a thing that can't be known about.
yeah, but right now we are not dealing with the will or the whether that being sent any communication, what kind of a character does he have. We're not dealing with his moral or spiritual qualities. What we are dealing is, right, through pure intellection, we are dealing with here's a universe. There had to be a maker, the first cause or the uncaused
No, there
cause.
doesn't have to be. If your maker doesn't have to be created, then the universe doesn't have to be created. You're
When we
just saying it does because the universe is a thing. So I need a thing that isn't a thing to make the thing exist. This is just not sophisticated or
no, no,
convincing at all.
but
At all.
but there's a logical fallacy which you're not taking notice of. Let me restate my thing. Look, if this world, if this universe, which is dependent, if it's dependent on a cause which itself is dependent,
You're
then
saying it is. It
I,
doesn't have to be.
right now I'm saying the first cause is outside of space, time, matter, and energy, and it is uncaused and is eternal and infinite, as free will because it decided to bring a finite
Free
effect.
will?
Yes, because there's a state of eternality going, and then one day
Cool.
that
Cool.
necessity being. Let me have a finite
Cool.
effect here. So that was a volitional, it was a willful decision to make a finite effect. Otherwise, he would have he, she, they, would have continued in a eternal mode. But when they saw when whoever that being, let's say genetic word God,
He,
this
she, it,
okay,
they.
I have free will and I'm going to create this universe intelligently designed, ultimately appear. All the forces are directed for a purposeful activity. It makes sense. It's
It
no
does, huh?
contradiction.
So you are beginning with the assertion that the universe must have a cause. There's no you don't have any reason for that. No, no good reason for that.
If it doesn't have a cause, then you're saying it's an eternal universe. And we know the universe is expanding, right? It hasn't
Ah,
the heat death of the universe yet.
okay.
It's
So are
at
you saying that, okay, so earlier you said if something, we cannot have an infinite span of time going backwards because an infinite past has no beginning, right? So you never arrive at today if you have an
yeah,
infinite, okay. How long has the creator existed?
eternally.
Oh, okay. So once again, your idea of the creator is illogical because something that has an infinite past, has existed for eternity, has no present. There we go.
Right,
See? You see how
but
you've done this
no, no,
again? You've
hold on.
said my thing that is the thing that's the reason for things is the exception to logical things and explains all of the logical things because it's exempt from any type of logical explanation and it contradicts all the things I say about all of the things because the thing that's the thing that made the things isn't really a thing like the other things are things.
But did this universe have a beginning? Yes or no?
In a point in time, yes, it appears so.
Okay. Okay, so the beginning started, the effect started. Now we are simply looking for a cause. And we know that the cause cannot be within the universe because within the universe you have, finite and interdependency.
Maybe it can. Things
Because
happen. Every single thing that's ever happened has happened in this universe.
right, but the point,
Right. So I guess it doesn't need any outside
no, because
influence.
no, because we start from singularity, like the Big Bang. That's the beginning. We agree
Yeah, the
on that.
beginning of the universe. There we
Yeah.
go.
So what I'm
Yeah, there
saying,
we go.
what,
Every single thing that's ever happened has happened in this universe.
yeah, but not initially.
Yeah.
What caused the Big Bang?
No idea. Maybe nothing.
Okay, no, not from nothing you get nothing. That's there's no point arguing over that. That's proven. You cannot have something from nothing. That will be just it's a nonsensical statement, right? So that's out the door. And the universe.
It's a nonsensical statement to humans who aren't omniscient and don't know everything.
We are talking with human beings. We are talking to human is talking to human. So we're not
Human
talking,
is talking to human. Okay.
our conscious knowledge, wisdom, our thinking abilities. So the thing is, the universe, number one, cannot be eternal. That's out the window.
And
Number two,
neither can the creator.
no, we'll come to that. Number two, the universe cannot come from nothingness. That's
And neither can the creator.
that's out the picture. The universe
Yep.
cannot create itself, because to create itself it have
And
to,
neither can the creator.
and that's a contradiction. That's out the picture. Now the only possibility
Okay.
that is left, that there must be a creator of the universe. Yeah.
Okay.
So why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Okay.
Why is that illogical? What's wrong with that?
Because, because your creator breaks all of the rules that you just put in place. Nothing that exists without creation, except my creator. It's just okay.
No.
Here's an idea. I got an
Yeah.
idea for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's say that there is a creator of this universe, right?
Yeah.
But there's an uncreated creator that created that creator.
Hmm.
What about that idea?
No, the one that is the ultimate creator, that's uncreated, that's
Yeah.
eternal.
So there's an ultimate creator that created what you consider God, and then God created the whole universe. So it's
Yeah.
just literally one step before that. What about that idea?
No, God is the ultimate creator. He's the first cause, the
You're
uncaused
just
cause.
telling me what you believe in. I'm asking you, what if there's an even more powerful one that came
No, no,
before him and created God, and then
but
God
that,
created the
but
universe?
you're going into the idea of infinite regress. Then you say
No,
this.
I'm actually not.
I'm
I'm
going to
I'm
God.
not doing infinite regress. You say before the universe there was the creator that created it. And I'm saying, what about the idea that there was just one creator before that created
No,
the
I'm saying
thing
this.
that made our universe?
But I'm saying
What do you
this.
think about that? There's
When you
nothing
no,
wrong with that argument,
what,
is there?
yeah, what I'm saying is that this is the ultimate creator, the first God, that the first cause, the
Yes, I
only
know. I
eternal.
already went over this. You're telling me what you believe in. I'm just giving you a different idea. And I'm just
And
asking you what you think
what
about it.
caused
And then
God?
you're just saying, no, 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 no.
Okay,
My idea, my
okay,
idea.
so
So, what
okay,
about a creator that created your God that made this universe?
okay.
What's
So
wrong with that idea?
let's test drive that idea. Then that would that be the ultimate God?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, so that is the God I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any created things. I'm talking about the
Okay. Do you
uncaused.
believe that? Do you believe that, though? Do you believe that's how it happened?
By logical necessity, there has to be an uncreated first cause, that is uncaused, the eternal cause that brought this
Yeah,
fire.
that's what I'm talking about. But
Okay,
it created the God that created this universe.
no, but there's a you're using contradicted.
Holy crap. Will you just answer this question? What do you believe that there was a creator right before God that made this universe, and that
No,
creator made God?
I'm talking about the ultimate source, the ultimate.
So am I, but it's
Okay,
slightly different than yours.
but
So answer the question.
you're positing a finite God prior to the ultimate God, and you're just using the word God for.
What?
Okay, so which God? I'm saying before the universe was created, I say there was the ultimate eternal God. What issue do you have with that? Why you why?
Stop changing the subject to your beliefs. I'm just giving you an alternative idea and asking you what you think about it, if you think it's a good idea, and if it is or isn't, why is it or is it not a good idea? So, for the billionth time, what about a creator that created your God that then went on to create this universe?
Okay, then that would be the real God.
Okay, so do you believe that idea?
Yeah, ultimately there has to be a creator, otherwise,
I'm
uh,
asking you if you specifically think there was a creator before the creator that made this universe.
If there was a creator that sort of like a finite creator, an agency or agent, then that would be part of the finite creative process, because that a god is not so I'm referring to the God. Ultimately, the a God could be just a part of the process of creation. You know. So there you go. I rest my case for tonight.
You
And
rest your case? You
no, no,
haven't presented anything.
let's be honest. You
Oh
know.
my god.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now we had a
let me see. Okay.
trick here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
no.
Okay.
I want to ask you one last thing
All right.
here.
Okay.
Hey,
You.
I want to ask you one last thing here. So these are the two possible ideas. Your idea, the alternative idea that I proposed. Okay?
Okay. Keep it. What is it? Super God. What does it say?
Yep,
Okay.
God and then universe and then super God, God and then the universe.
Why
So, which one of these is more likely?
the top one, God, then the universe, because
Why
you're
is it more
because
likely?
you're positing an unnecessary cause. You're
Doesn't
giving
matter. So are you for
why?
this.
No,
So, why is this idea more illogical in your
no,
opinion?
because the God that you put there before the super God, that's that. If that's the case, that's just an agent. Is a God. It will be a finite God, part of the creative process, not the super God. So I'm talking about the super God, ultimate God, before which there is no other God. The first God. There you go.
Yeah, again, you're just telling me what you believe in, right?
I
Why do you believe this? Because you grew up your whole life
no no.
believing it.
I
And then when I ask you, is this idea more or less likely? You just say, well, yeah, that can't be more likely. But there's absolutely no reason why it can't be more likely because we can't have any evidence about these things because they're outside of the universe, like you admitted to. So, in other words, the fact that you aren't convinced by this, by the way, this is how it happened, is exactly how I'm not convinced that this happened before this.
so how
You're
did this?
saying, nah, that's not a good
Yeah,
explanation because you don't
but
get this, and
no,
then
no,
this. And I'm just taking it literally one microscopic step
right.
farther.
But the point is, we are stuck with the universe, and we are raising philosophical and intellectual questions. I'm not trying to, what I'm trying to do is, I say, here's a universe. What caused it? Where did it come from? We see this is an intelligent universe, very intelligently designed. I mean, our minds, our consciousness, quantum physics,
Yeah,
all beautiful, very, very highly sophisticated stuff, and it's a very
that's
sophisticated,
pretty cool.
but pretty rational universe, because that's why the scientists can study it. So the great God who made this universe had to be super intelligent, all knowing, all powerful, and having a free will to bring the finite effect. And then that's this is any deist or any theist, or even you, right now I haven't brought any religion into the picture. This is a generic God. I'm just using the word God for the ultimate creator. So hey, there is the rational and logical evidence for the necessity of a God. I think here you and we agree, because there's nothing else to argue, but we agree. So we can move on to the next point. Okay, you understand? So that's it. Okay, I call it a night, and you. And what do you have now? A new graph? Okay,
What
okay.
about what about this? What about there's three gods and they're all uncaused. They all began to exist at the same moment. They've
Multi-
existed for eternity and they came together and created the universe.
but what you're doing is you're
Yeah.
multiplying.
Once again, there's nothing
It,
about this
it,
idea
it,
is more or less logical than your idea,
the,
is more or less supported by evidence than
I
your idea, or anything like that. So these are
no
junk explanations. They're
no.
not based on anything that's actually
The,
empirical
the,
or it can be verified here in the universe. If
the,
you want to believe in these things, that's
because
cool. I don't really care.
no no
But
no
don't
no.
come in here and telling me that just because I that it has to be this specific thing and then this when
Yeah,
this
but
is
what you
equally
did,
likely according to the way you describe the way things happen,
uh,
and so is this.
look at the error in
You
here.
don't have any
No
special
no
claim
no.
or
I give you
privilege
there,
to knowledge about what created this universe.
the
You
claim.
just simply don't. You just believe
No, I haven't.
in the specific one that you do.
I haven't brought any belief system into it. This is pure rational thought. Look, the picture that you just showed me, three gods. That's logically flawed because when you have eternality by default,
Why? Why
eternal
is it logically flawed?
eternality cannot be more than one. Okay, because second
Why
eternal.
not?
If you posit second eternal,
Why not?
going to be dependent on the first one. Okay, so you're
No, it
multiplying
doesn't. They come
positive.
into existence at the same time.
No, 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 no.
What do you mean, no? Yes,
They,
yes, 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 yes. That's what
they
they do. That's the definition of them. You
eternality.
said you're one God. By definition, that's what he's always existed. I say the three gods, by definition, are eternal, have always existed, began to exist at the same time. And then that just becomes what those things are, the identity of them. This is I can construct any imaginary argument that is just like this. It's
Eternality,
not hard to do, and
uh,
it's not special or better than
okay.
any other
Eternality,
supernatural outside the universe causal
e- e-
agent.
eternality by default is one and unique. There cannot be another eternality. There cannot be another God because if you
Are you
posit,
pretending to know the mind of God?
I'm looking at the universe and I'm reaching out into a logical construction of the creator. I'm not bringing any mumbo jumbo in there. I'm
But
looking at the universe.
but you're just a mortal creature. You
Yeah,
don't know the mind of God, or
right.
in fact the mind of triple God, which is the one
How do
three
you
true
know?
gods.
Why you positing unnecessary causes? If one God can do the job, why you have to say that?
Why am I positing unnecessary causes?
Yeah.
Are you talking to a mirror?
No, you said one God, then you said two, then three. If one God can create the universe, why would you entertain? Hey, why not five? Why not 10? Why not 10 million? That that
Exactly.
that's that's just like, well,
Why posit one?
if according to the definition of God, by looking at the universe, we come to this conclusion that this God has to be uncaused, has to be eternal and powerful, and having a
What
free will, and all
what
knowing and
what
all
makes
intelligent.
you think that you know what God is?
We are looking at the universe and we are looking at the characteristics and properties and the attributes of the universe, and we are concluding the maker
Right. So I asked you about God. What makes you think you know the characteristics and properties of God?
because we see the great intelligent design, we see consciousness, we see free will, we see.
You interpret those things as that. I'm asking you why. What makes you think you know the properties of God?
Because this is coming from the mind of the creator.
It's coming from your mind.
No, but
Okay,
don't.
humans on earth invented the concept of gods, and then they
No,
go around saying what those gods are like. One of them goes, yeah, I was just at the tabernacle and God told me that you all have to give me 5% of your money right now. Okay, so what makes you think you understand the properties of
no,
God?
no. Well, first, you would have to establish that this revelation or communication is from the eternal God. Number one, you have to establish
Yeah,
that.
which can't be done. So I'm asking
But then,
you why
no.
you think you
Okay,
know the
so
properties of God.
have you read the Quran?
No,
Okay,
I'm asking you, why do
yeah,
you think you know the properties of God?
because God has revealed Himself through three things. Look, through the universe. That's number one.
Oh my
Through
gosh. This is just what
no,
you
no, no, no,
believe.
there will be no, since you raised that question. Now I'm going to go into the theological part through the divine revelation. That is the communication, and third is through our consciousness, through our will, free will, through our intellect, through our emotions, through our experience. So we know through these three sources about that creator, who that creator is. I'm a Muslim. I'm a believer. I believe that God has created the universe, and I feel that this is a pretty rational and logical, even a scientific position as far as the creation is
No,
concerned.
it's not scientific.
No, I'm not saying the idea of God is scientific. I'm saying the universe itself is. When we use the scientific method to study the natural forces, and we can study them because they are rational and they're logical, right? So it cannot come from
Yeah.
a. It's not illogical or mumbo jumbo or sort of like us in a state of confusion, right? Because the philosophy of science says that this is a rational universe and we can study it and we can derive laws and benefits from it.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't inform you about anything about what created the universe. It doesn't tell you that it has to be one or three or seven or
so
one that came
so
before.
so now.
Nothing about the fact that the laws of physics exists proves to us in any meaningful way what kind of creator made this universe, how many of them, where,
No,
when,
we,
why, how,
we
or anything like that.
right. So we have already
Right.